They ask you questions, give them answers. You on the show to spill the truth, no need to lie, cause you wanna look cool, be authentic. If you ran the streets, tell the story how it really went, because somebody like me might know how it really went. Steve J, Adam A, Rose City vets, Shotgun Big A, if you know the rest. It's more than a podcast and people letting out stress. It's even more better, we be sharing our success.
Well, another episode, News, Life, and Beyond. Let's talk to my man Brent about when he first figured out whether he was gay.
Yeah, lesbian.
But, so let's get into this shit. So, let's talk about a little bit about growing up, buddy.
All right, growing up, I mean, we didn't have a ton of money. You know, my mom worked a lot. She had a lot of crazy jobs. You know, everybody remembers my mom driving taxi, desk person at the Warregan Hotel, door person at the Log and Lantern. You know, school wasn't the greatest for me. Well, grammar school anyways. Not that I didn't get good grades or anything like that. I didn't get along with a lot of people. The people that I did get along with, I'm still tight with to this day. You know, I could say, you know, I met Shotgun here in 1986, and we messed around for a while, and then we kind of grew our separate ways. But, you know, right around 13 years old, I broke my leg. I was going to Teachers Memorial, and I moved to Greenville, and that's where I met the whole Greenville crowd. You know, my cousin, Rick, rest in peace, he, you know, was one of the crowd, so, you know, immediately as I was accepted, one of my good friends was Jermaine Pabon, Pooh Barrio.
While you was in school, was you getting bullied at all, or?
You know, I might have been bullied in school.
Because you say you didn't grow up with a lot of money and kids are cruel.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I don't know how you find it.
I might have got bullied in school by a few people, but I had my own clique back in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? I grew up inner city, downtown Norwich, pretty much all my life, from Lake Street, Court Street, School Street, Church Street.
Some street.
You know, I can make you a shorter list of streets that I didn't live on in Norwich, you know what I'm saying?
So you moved around a lot?
A lot.
Mom got evicted a lot?
Yeah. Not burned out, thrown out, kicked out, flooded out. I mean, we did it all, you know what I'm saying? I remember I lived on Lake Street in 1981, and I moved to School Street. And we were poor, man. We had St. Vincent's de Paul, the soup kitchen people helping us with the trucks. But I remember moving our personal shit in shopping carts from Lake Street to School Street, you know what I'm saying?
And that's a little hike.
Yeah, it's a hike, man, you know. I remember, you know, going to school, going to Buckingham School, we went by the gongs of the town hall, you know, when the bells rang, we knew what time it was time to get up and go. And when I was on School Street, I was probably, when I was on Lake Street, I was probably in first grade. I mean, we walked from Lake Street to Cedar Street to Buckingham, and it's like, that's unheard of these days, you know? But around, you know, 13 years old, moved to Greenville, going to junior high. I went from Teachers back to Kelly Junior High. And I met Pooh Bear, and it was summertime, so we became real good friends. And he was a knucklehead, you know, and
still is.
Yeah, still is. So, homie. But you know, we hit it off. We were boys, and you know, people didn't screw with him in school, and he was a little more popular than I was. So, you know, that kind of began when I started to get noticed in school.
You was going to Kelly?
Yeah,
okay.
Yep. Breezed right through all that. I went to Norwich High. Always had a girl, you know, that was way older than me with a car, so I really didn't do a lot of hanging around. And, you know, I paid my dues, I guess, in downtown. And
did you graduate?
Yes, I did. I did. I graduated on the same day my mother got her GED. Pretty crazy, wow. Right? We got it at the same time.
Yeah.
But you know, I was in so much trouble with the cops when I was a kid. I mean, crazy trouble. I can't tell you.
That was one of my questions.
I didn't even want to mention some of the charges, man, but it was like an every week thing, like they was out to get me.
No, please
And,
do mention some of the charges.
When I was, you know, forgery first for counterfeit money.
And you was 13,
receiving
or is this
stolen
when you was
goods.
in high school?
This is as I started getting older. Yeah, you remember, yeah. That's nothing to do with me, but that was way before. But forgery first, counterfeit money, charges dropped, by the way. Receiving stolen goods, charges dropped, by the way. And it kind of went on like that. The narrative kind of keeps going on like that. And finally, I said, man, you know, at one time, I had to go to the Norwich courthouse every morning to take a urine screen, you know, just to stay out of jail for AIC. And
is this during high school or when you got out of high school?
This is during, you know, the summers and that sort of thing. You know, a lot of partying in the woods, stuff like that. But turn around, you know, I said to myself, I said, man, I got to get the hell out of Norwich. I said, I'm going to end up all done, you know. So my mom, she was working at the Log and Land, and then she met this gentleman that owned a transmission shop in downtown Norwich. He gave me a job. I thought I had tools. I had like this lunchbox full of shit, man. I showed up.
When did you get into fixing cars in Lincoln?
Oh, man, I've been fixing cars before I can remember, man. I've been messing with cars since I was 12, 13 years old.
So you got the bug for it?
Yeah. You know, and it was out of necessity. You know, it was, we had money to pay somebody else to do it, and if we wanted to ride, you know, we figured it out ourselves.
Where was your father during all this?
My father lived in New London, and it was weird because I did have contact with him and my little sister, but I was always sent there as kind of a punishment, so I didn't really like being there. You know, not that it was a bad place or anything like that. They took real good care of me. My father's girlfriend, who I call my stepmother, they were never married, she treated me like her own son. My sister is my sister. You know, some people say half brothers, half sisters. In my family, we don't do that. I got 5 brothers and I got 5 sisters.
Yeah, blood don't make family.
It's you know, that's the thing. You know, so I moved out. I got this job doing transmissions, and you know, I kind of never turned back. The guy that owned the place kind of, you know, things were strange. I worked with his son, but I was good at what I did, and everybody noticed it. And then eventually things came to say we parted ways, and another place out of Groton had heard about me and, you know, what I was capable of. So they called me up, asked me if I wanted a job. And that's where I met Joe Ramos.
What age is this now?
I'm about 16 years old now. And that's when I met Joe Ramos. Joe Ramos, older Puerto Rican guy. I mean, Christ, I'm older than him than when I met him. And so I started working here, and you know, I was good. You know, I did my job. I worked hard. I mean, there was a learning curve, obviously, and I had to put together tools. But one day, I'm in the back room, and I'm washing parts for Joe, and the owner come back and said, hey, he goes, you know, how do you spell your name, Brent? I said, Ramos. And this guy, Joe, he looks at me like I'm crazy. He's like, ooh, get my name out your mouth. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? My name, that's my name. And he's like, no, that's my name. So we found out we had the same name. And he had all daughters, and so he kind of took me under his wing like a son, and he taught me the transmission business. And from there, when he would find, you know, well, when people, he was sought after because he was good. And when people would call upon him to come for an interview and a job, he would say, I got to take my little man with me. So I traveled around the state, you know, getting these big dollar jobs, you know, getting paid really good money, you know, from 16 to 18 years old. But I rubbed elbows with a lot of really experienced people. And the one thing that I stood out from is no matter what they had to offer me, whether I knew it or not, I was gracious for the information. So these people were always willing to teach me and show me more.
So you was real grateful for everything.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't like, yeah, you know, whatever, I knew that or anything like that. I thanked them, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Thanks for the...
And I've been everywhere from Norwich, so I mean, I can run right down the list. Performance Transmission, Lee Miles Transmission, Computech Transmissions, Levine's Transmissions, New Haven, Smith Brothers Transmissions, Old Saybrook, Smith Brothers Transmissions, Norwich. And now, mind you, this sounds crazy that, you know, wow, this guy's got a tow hitch on his toolbox. But there's not one of these companies that I couldn't go work for.
Yo, we got them shirts too. You guys want to buy a shirt? Hit up me at Stevie J.
Need to lie cause you wanna look cool, be authentic. If you ran the streets, tell the story how it really went. Because somebody like me might know how it really went.